testing. All right, everybody, we're back. This week it seems like it's working from the start. Still getting ready here. Last week we had some serious problems with the stream. I ended up streaming on Selway's Techno Saturdays stream spot. Don't know how that happened, but we got through it. Really happy to be back again. See, you guys are streaming in here now. Simple Sam, mic check. John H. Kingston III. Always good to see you here. Kai Struckle, is that right? Cal, is it Kai or Cal? I can't see, his monitor's too far away. I have somebody saying hello in Cyrillic. I do not read Cyrillic, but hello back. Or should I say privyet? Ernie Johnson, no, Jameson, sorry, Ernie Jameson in Raleigh, North Carolina. I have family that lives in Cary. My two sisters live in Cary, which is not too far from Raleigh. Stefan Pete, hello. Pavel, welcome back. Pavel's in one of my classes. I guess I'm talking a little too much here during this intro. Let's see, another minute or so and we'll get cracking. Ernie says he grew up in Cary, I guess. Well, then you might know my nieces and nephews. I think they went to Green Hope. Anyway, I think it's time to start, so let's get this show started, huh? What do you say? Hey, everybody. I'm back, and this time it looks like we're doing good when it comes to the technical part of it. I'm Abe Duque. I am an instructor at 343 Labs, and I am the Friday streamer here on 343 TV. We stream we stream 4 times a week, I think. I think we stream on Tuesdays with Tetro Talks. We stream on Wednesdays with Justin Beck's Electronic Music Essentials, I think is, or I always get these wrong, but I'm trying to get them right. Friday is me with the Friday production show. We do production here. I guess we call it the production basics, but sometimes we've called this Abe's production Playhouse. And then Saturdays, where John Selway does his Techno Saturday show, and that's always a very popular show. All right, let's see. Let's have a look at what's going on here in the chat and see what you guys are, who's here. Let's see. I see some names I don't recognize before. You Ain't Chicago is here. Do you ever use Logic or Cubase? I haven't used. I used to use Cubase exclusively for a while back in the 90s. And then I switched to Logic, and I used Logic exclusively for a while. And then when Ableton came out, I kind of switched to Ableton, and it's been Ableton and Bitwig between, then and now. I mean, I use Logic all the time in classes. I do mixing and mastering classes where students will come up with their projects in Logic, and I'm pretty good at, getting around Logic. But I think most of the time my workflow happens inside of either Bitwig or Ableton. But yeah, I should just for fun do a project one day in Logic. That would be really cool. Let's see who else is here. Ernie Jameson, who says he grew up in Cary or he lives in Raleigh, North Carolina, where my family lives. My two sisters and their kids all live there. I have a lot of friends as well that live there, so close to me. So let's see who else is here. Sendata says hello. Stefan Peach, Simple Sam, John H. Kingston III. I mean, it's a full house, it looks like today, and I'm very happy for this. Again, I always look forward to this every Friday to get with you guys and start, doing a production. So if you know, what we do here is I basically just produce tracks. I start a track and I continue working on a track until we have it more or less finished. As much as we can do within the 1 hour constraint that we have here. We probably take 2 or 3 sessions per track, and then we call it a day. We take it all from scratch, where we don't have anything in going on, and we take it all the way to mixing and mastering it. So, hopefully along the way you can learn a few things, a few tips and tricks from my workflow. And you guys seem to enjoy it, so I'll just keep it going. Let's see who else is this. Pavel is here. Pavel is in my Ableton 2 class now. He's making some amazing stuff. He's been working on the sample challenge. I don't know, is that over? Is that already? Is that this weekend that the sample challenge is going? I'm not sure. Or did I miss it? Let's see. Kai Struckle says hello. Who else is in here? There's so many people in here. I'm so happy. So happy. Again, we're 343 TV, and we come from 343 Labs, which is a school. We are here teaching you guys online. In person, we have schools in Berlin, we have schools in New York, we have classes going on now all the time. If you want, please come to our website, have a look at the class schedule, and maybe you can join us for a class so we can have this kind of back and forth in person and not just here on the stream. Anyway, let's get right into it. Today, so last week we finished a techno track with John Selway. Well, John Selway helped me out and collaborated with me on this one. He took over my stream 2 weeks ago, and last week I kind of finished off the track. The week before that we did like an acid house track. This week I thought we'd take it a little bit into like synth pop or synth wave. I don't know exactly where it's going to go, but I want to kind of make it more musical and less based on rhythmic stuff like the last track. So let's get right to the DAW and showing you my DAW, and let's get right into the action here. I wanted to take a moment while my DAW. This is how I'm going to load it from scratch. So I go new live set, right, and here comes the new live set, and that's exactly what I had. What you just saw on the screen. So what I'm trying to say is this is how my default template is set up here. I just wanted to show you what I got going on. It pays off to put a little time into setting up your template or setting up what you're going to see when you first open a DAW when you're about to write. So I usually make sure that I have some pretty cool effects here in my returns. I'm always going to have a reverb. Of course, I can adjust it. Right now it's set, with a low cut. I probably should turn that off. And I usually don't try to mess with the input on the reverb, especially for a default reverb. And I'll do that. But then I usually have a ping pong delay kind of set up in there, ready to go, because those are always really fun to play with. And of course, I always have a Echo, which is a really cool device, which is you can do all sorts of things, but really for me it really gets me straight to that dub effect that I really love that came from that Roland Space Echo that I really enjoy. So I have all that set up ready to go. And when I open a new set, they're just there waiting for me, which means that I don't have to go out and get that going at any point. The other thing that I do is that when you install Ableton, you get like 2 MIDI tracks and 2 audio tracks. I don't need to see 2 of each track, empty tracks for no reason. I actually load in 1 MIDI track and 1 audio track, and in the MIDI track that I load in a piano. All right now I'm ready to play that piano anytime I want. And the reason that I load that in is because if I'm going to write, right, if I'm going to write music, the best instrument that I could use to quickly get going with parts is a piano. And reason being is that you can really immediately get to a bass, play a bass on it. You can play higher frequencies or higher octaves on there, play melodies on there. You can play chords. Everything kind of works, and you could use your imagination to like think about how it's going to be with other synth sounds. But if you drop in any given synth sound, it's so specific sometimes with the presets, or even like if you just dropped in like a basic analog or anything from Ableton, or even some sort of plugin or whatever, what you're going to get is a sound that's too specific to, give you a broad kind of brush to play with. So with a piano here, I'm always ready to go with this piano. So with that said, I'll set this up. You could even do things like, set these sizes of these things, and you could even color scheme the whole thing if you wanted to already. And then when you're ready, you can go down to where it says file here and save this set as a default set, so that every time you start something new, it's always going to be ready to go. And so this is really important for speeding up workflow. I'm all about though speeding up that workflow, because if you just take a second to have to do something else, I always say that inspiration is like alcohol that you spill on the table. If you spill like alcohol on the table, you might go and get a rag or something to pick it up, and by the time you come to clean it off, it's already been evaporated. And that's what happens if you take your time to do something else that's not necessarily related to the inspiration that you have. So you want to be able to harness that inspiration immediately and get right in there. All right, so let's keep going here. So I was thinking of playing something with like a chord progression this time. I mean, most of the time I'm making house and techno tracks, but I wanted to like make something with a chord progression. Maybe let's start out with the tempo. I go with the tempo to 125 today, and let's set a metronome so that we can hear the speed of what we're dealing with here. And let me hear a piano. And I'm going to take it from simple, and then I'm going to maybe grow it. So I'm just going to start recording. So, when you start recording, don't let your, the fact that it's recording get you all, upset or nervous. Just let it record. It doesn't matter. It doesn't cost you anything to let it record. You can do whatever you want. You can play whatever you want, and it doesn't matter, because if you don't like it, you don't have to use it. You could just later just grab what you want. Right now, I'm going to do a chord progression. Let's see. What do I want to start? Maybe on F. So we'll start on F, and we'll take it where we'll go maybe there, and we'll go there, go there. So we'll go. Okay, so, and I'm going to do it to the beat now. Okay, I've done it now. I probably didn't play it as tight as I wanted to, but it's there. There it is right there. So let me just go ahead and block that off where I actually recorded it. And those are the 4 bars that I just recorded. I'm going to quantize it. Command-Shift-U, I think, will give me my quantize settings. I first need to select all the parts. So Command-A to select all the parts here. Command-Shift-U will get me that. Quantize, I'm going to do 16th notes. I just want them to be nice and tight. I think a couple of here I might have missed and not gotten correctly, and I don't know what this one is. So I'm going to get rid of that one, and this one here should probably be here, and this one here should probably, well, I might just do it again, but let's hear what I have. Yeah, that's kind of messed up. All right, so let's just fix that in editing. So quickly, let's fold that. You know that fold, was it already folded? No, I wanted to fold it. So when I fold it, I can get a bigger view of just the notes that I used. I don't want these because they're kind of faulty. So I'm going to take one that's working. So copy that. And I'm just going to hold on Option and then drag this over and have that there. Was that there? Yeah, I think that was there. That was the note I wanted, that G. And I think this one is fine. So let's hear it now. And since it's kind of going to be like synth wave or whatever, I'm gonna take all the velocities and just kind of like max them out so they're all the same. Lower that. All right, so I got the part down. I got it down with the piano. I'm going to keep the piano where it is, keep on writing parts with it, but I'm going to get me another instrument. I want a synth to play that. I don't want that piano to play that. So let me just create a new MIDI track, and then I'm going to drop and today's show is supposed to be about synthesis, right? So I'm going to concentrate a little bit on how to work the synthesizers in here. I guess today we'll start with and we'll concentrate on subtractive synthesis first, which is what analog is supposed to be, a kind of a subtractive synthesizer from maybe the late 70s or early 80s. This is this synthesizer never existed. This is an Ableton creation, but it's something that could have existed in that period. And so we're gonna, maybe in the next show I'll talk about FM or something like that, or additive, and of course wavetable, which is always very fun. But let's start with subtractive synthesis, and let me just tell you why subtractive synthesis is subtractive synthesis. It's very simple. You start with a full complement of harmonics, meaning harmonics are the overtones that you get on a sound. So let me just grab a Spectrum, so show you. Spectrum, if you've seen me work before, you know that Spectrum is something that I love, and I can't live without sometimes. So if you have, right now, let me just use one oscillator. So this is a saw waveform, and it's going through this kind of, I call these synth circuits, because it goes from this oscillator into this filter, which you could turn off for now, and into this amp section. So if I play this note, what you're going to get is a fundamental frequency. This one's the fundamental frequency. This is the one that you really are kind of gravitating to and hearing. This is the note that you feel. But it has a bunch of other overtones here that are, part of the harmonic series. And they make up the richness of the sound. So you start with a very harmonically rich content here, and then you take a filter, and then you bring it down and subtract those frequencies to kind of mold out a sound for yourself. And you can then add a little resonance, which is basically, in this case, amplitude here at the cutoff. And you can mold out a pretty interesting sound for yourself here. So that's the idea. That's the subtractive synthesis. Now, if you ever wondered, or if you know what it is, well, now you know. Now you know exactly what subtractive synthesis is all about. It's about having an oscillator create a tone that has very nice harmonics on it, and then being able to take a filter and remove parts or mold the frequency spectrum with these filters, so that you end up with a new tone, or a tone that you've created from that. And basically, we always have three sections in a subtractive synth setup. We always have this section here, which is where the tone is created and where the pitch of the tone can be set up, and we call this the pitch section. We always have the tone section, which is controlled by the filter. So we always have pitch, tone, and then the amplitude section, where we control what happens to the sound over time. And in you guys have seen me use some of these tools before, but I'll just give you a little quick reminder of what these tools are. For example, right now we have an amplitude section here with an envelope. And an envelope is a graphic representation of what's going to happen over time to a given value. And in this case, the value is the level. So this level can be managed over time with this kind of setup here, which is the attack, decay, sustain, release that maybe you've heard of, ADSR. And basically, the attack section determines how fast the sound is going to peak out to its highest point in this level. The decay section is going to show how long it takes to get down to the sustain level. Then when it sits at the sustain level and I'm holding the key down, so if I'm holding this key down, it first peaked out to the loudest point. Let me open up the filter. It first peaked out to the loudest point, and then it came down to the sustain level. So you'll notice that this was louder, and then it came down. Watch. See, first louder, and then came down. And that's the level that we are right now. When I let it go, it'll go into this last section, which will be the release. And then that means how long it takes to let go. So if I put a very long release on it, it takes a very long time. See, I'm not holding it anymore. It takes a very long time for it to let go and for it to dissipate. So these times can be set exact. So here we have exact time. So our attack is a 1.11 second attack rate, and then the decay is only 626 milliseconds to get to this level, which is the sustain level, which is 50% of the possible level. And then the release, which is set to 469 milliseconds, and it makes this sound. So if you wanted to make a more, like I say, a violin sound, you might want to extend the attack. So that's a little too extended. Let's extend it just a little less so it could be a little louder. And raise the volume here. Okay, and that would be kind of a more violin sound. But if you want a more kind of in-your-face sound, a little stabbier sound, then we make the attack super fast, so it just hits you. It comes at you really immediately. Okay, all right. So that's the basics of how the envelope works. You'll see envelopes for other things as well as we keep moving forward. But right now, I just want to make a sound. So I want to get back to writing this track. I want to drop that part that I created in here, and I'm going to just take that part and drop it right into this analog here, and I don't need it here anymore. So I'm going to click on it and hit 0. 0 on Ableton with any part or any clip just disables it, so it doesn't let it play. So here we are. Let's turn off the metronome now. Pretty cool, but let's make a better sound with this. I'm jumping to places that I don't want it to jump to. I don't know why. Okay, let's make a better sound. So now we have that one sound, and once again, I'll just demonstrate how it sounds like if I make it, swell in or come in immediately. I can make it shut down like that. Right now, the decay goes down to 0, so I could make a very short sound. This is referred to as like a percussive envelope because it's just attack and decay, and that's it. Let's do that, and let's add a second oscillator. So this second oscillator could be here, and maybe we'll lower that one an octave, and maybe detune it a little bit. Wow, that's nice and fat now. So watch what happened. We went from that. We made a second oscillator which we had exactly the same, and now it's on top of each other and it's a little pinching. It's a little synced, so they're pinching now. But I'm gonna relieve the pressure there by bringing that one down to 1 octave, and then always cool when you have 2 oscillators playing to just detune one slightly off of the other one, because you get that super thick, very nice sound from it. Play with the filter. Okay, so let's see, a little resonance in there. All right, so I'm going to work on this more. I'm going to work on it more, but let me now grab some drums. I need to get some drums. And I was playing with this glass kit before, so I'm gonna just jump into this glass kit. I thought it had some sounds that I could deal with. So just gonna find my stuff here. You know what's really cool sometimes? It really saves you time, especially when you're making more kind of exact synth music. It's just record quantization when you're recording the parts in. So I could record right in here, and it'll be next time I play it back, it'll sound pretty tight. So let's hit this and let's get in there. Just gonna find the sounds that I want. Okay, keep that. I just, quickly just drop something in there so to get some beat going, so I don't have to turn on the metronome. So you see what this sounds like. That's cool. I'm going to lower that clap, though. It's a little too loud for me. Okay. Okay, so far so good, but I want to spruce this up a little bit. But before we do, I'm just going to look at the chat for a second and see if there's anything going on. You guys are talking about stuff. Enigmatic Onion is here. Hey, welcome back. Let's see. Everybody's talking about the sample, I think the sample challenge, which was our fearless leader, Max Wild, playing his trusty saxophone. And you guys have to grab that and do something amazing with it. All right. Remember, guys, if you ever want me to talk about something or expand on something, answer a particular question or whatever, just drop it in the chat. I'm often looking over into the chat. Is that a Mulga here, says Enigmatic Onion? No, it isn't. It's the analog from Ableton. But let's make it sound a little more interesting. So let's see. What am I going to do to make it sound more interesting? That's the question now. Well, I think maybe let's add an arpeggiator, because an arpeggiator could like make my simple pattern into something a little more spruced up. So let's grab the arpeggiator from the MIDI effects and then drop it in here. And I'm going to make a rate of 16th notes. I played in 8th notes, but I'm going to make a rate of 16th notes. And let's see what that sounds like right now. Okay, so I'm going to press hold. Okay, that's more interesting, but let's keep on making it interesting. Let's add a steps to it. Let's add another level so that when it plays once, the second time it'll play like, in this case it says the distance is set for 12 semitones, so it'll go one octave up. Oh yeah. Let's see what happens if I take that and where's the grand piano part? Just curious what happens if I eliminate every other note here. So I just do quarter notes on this. I'll just do it on this one first, and if it works better, it's the same thing. All right, but let's play with the. How about this? How about we make it more interesting by a little more interesting by maybe grabbing a chord device, throwing that in front of there, and adding maybe a bass note to it. Now it has more notes to play with. See what happens there. Everything's a little too low. I'm gonna grab a pitch effect and bring everything up by an octave. Now that's cool. On the first ones, I get to make more because I have less here. So I'm going to do that with a few. I'm just going to pull out on the second one as well. I'll pull those out. That's interesting. I'm going to do all of them. Let me do just a couple. I'll do it randomly. I'll just drop out a couple here. And then I'll drop one randomly here, maybe. And then this one. Simple Sam says it's starting to sound really nice, and Billboard says it's starting to sound funky. I'm trying, guys. All right, let's get it a little more interesting. Let's add a little bit of movement to it, and like it isn't moving enough already, right? No, what I mean by that is let's add a little bit of modulation to a la something you might have heard in maybe a chorus from maybe a Jupiter 8 or something like that. And we'll do that with maybe the phaser and flanging. Maybe that would be cool. And let's do a little bit of flanging. So flanging is a copy of the original, and we'll take that copy and we'll set it up in a way that that will let's see. Let's play it now. We'll set it up so the copy is played offset in time, and it modulates back and forth, so it gives it kind of a movement in there. Let's open this up so we can look at a couple of other parameters in there as we play this. So let's listen right now and let's see what we can do to make it a little more interesting. That's already pretty cool. How about we change the phase of it? Go to a 180-degree phase. And now it's very stereo. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's nice. I didn't have to do much to it. Let's see what happens if I give it a little feedback. A little feedback is okay. I don't want to do this to it. Just want to give it a little extra. And I'll change the rate. I'll double the rate so it's moving a little slower. Hey, that's cool. So I'm starting to clip here on the red. So what I'm going to do, just because it's hard to keep track of all this stuff as it's happening, I'm going to drop a limiter on the master just to make sure it doesn't go over into the red, and my stream sounds, not so cool. But well, that's cool. Now let's process it a little bit. I want it to be nice and full on the low end, so I'm gonna. Oh, wrong part. Sorry. Here we go. I'm gonna drop an EQ here. Maybe add a little bit of extra shelving on the bottom. I want it to be nice and thick on the bottom. Let's play with that filter though. Simple Sam says, so this is Live 11. Yeah, some of the cool things that happened in Live 11, for example, the way that they did the phaser and the flanger, they changed it in a really, very interesting ways. Okay, so not bad, but let's get this under control because it's a little bit all over the place. So I'm going to use the glue compressor. Drop that in there. Just tighten it up a little bit. Now, one of the things that is secretly going on in my head right now is that I'm actually taking the adding a lot of bass here with this low shelf, but because I want it to be a nice solid part, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to add this glue compressor, and then make sure it compresses it enough. And by that I mean that it gets caught right in there. Now these settings are so click, click, click. I mean, we could try to get a more precise setting for this, but what I really want to do is just drive it into the glue compressor a little bit. And when it does, it usually eats up some of the very low subs. The way that the gain reduction happens in the glue compressor is that it loses more low end than anything else faster. So it's not like it just lowers the level, like maybe lowering a fader or something like that. It actually eats up or compresses the low end out of the way. And that's good for me because it does it in such a nice way that it tightens it up. So it tightens it up really nicely. So I have a nice tight part now. And let's see, since it's doing stereo and it's sort of my bass, right? Maybe I'm gonna wanna see what happens when I try to mono the stereo. I mean mono the sub stereo. So this utility allows me to like immediately mono the sub stereo there. All right, so we're good. We're doing all right. All right, let's have a look at what's going on in the chat. Simple Sam is smiling. You ain't Chicago. Why would Abe Duque not be up to date with the latest software? Come on. All right, somebody's talking about latest software. Oh, maybe the Ableton 11 thing. Okay. Thought it was 10 or even 9 a second because because I used the color scheme with those versions. Yeah, I'm used to the old color schemes, and that's why I kind of gravitate towards them. By the way, it's a little bit more than halfway point. Let me just remind you what you're watching. You're watching 343 TV. We are here streaming 4 times a week these days. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays at 1 p.m. And we are here just trying to make music or create sound or record or mix or master, giving you kind of an insight on things that, you want to hear about. We've kind of developed a cool little community. We have these, you guys are characters. You guys are here every stream. I really love seeing that. It's almost like, walking into a pub and meeting my friends every week and spending some time talking about the things that I love to talk about. I can sit here, talk shop with you guys. It's just, for me, very, very, very cool. Anyway, come subscribe to our channel. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to our channel. We're trying to get up to, maybe 20K by the end of the year. That would be great. We're now at 11.3K subscribers. Please, and if you like what you're seeing, do me a favor, hit the like button. That would be very, very helpful for me because then I could brag about all the likes that I get for my show. So please, yes, subscribe, and please do go to our website, 343labs.com, or in the German one, 343labs.de, to check out our class schedules, maybe sign up for a class. We have everything from long classes to master sort of packages where you can take every class. We give you a package deal for that. And we also have smaller pro sessions which are kind of like master classes with established artists. Please have a look. This is how we pay the bills. So it would be really nice if at least you could, maybe have a look. And if you're not going to take a class, maybe you could tell somebody else that might be interested in some of the content that we're doing or the way that we teach, for you guys to, help us out here. Anyway, thanks for listening to that little bit of shilling. And now let's get back into what we're doing here. Let's see. Well, who else is here? I see people like Raphael. I haven't seen Raphael before or said hello to him today. Arad record, I guess that's what it says. It's hard for me to see that this monitor where the chat is always very far away, and I can't bring it any closer because it's right where the what do you call it? My mixing console is. All right, so let's get back in here. Let's turn this spectrum off a little bit. Maybe add a little bit of reverb. Make it even bigger. Let's see what happens if I put it through delay. I mean, that'll be nice if I start modulating it. This happens the echo. Just a little bit of that. But for now, I want to create maybe another part, and I'll go back to my piano here. And so now I got to create. I don't know what keys this is in. Maybe this is in F minor or in C minor or G minor. All right, so I'm gonna take a couple of minutes to just kind of jam out a little bit on here, and this is what I like to do. The piano is a very good instrument to jam out on and just have fun, and then maybe I can come up with some parts from there. What I'm looking for is maybe some riffs to play in, and hi Jim Jones, I see you, and or maybe a chord progression that can go along with this. So let me just start recording. So that's the progression, right? That's where it's going. So let's see what a chord progression. That's nice. All right, let's try it again. Okay, try to play it now. That's a better note there. Okay, see if I get it right. If I can't get it right, I'll just edit it in right way. See, that should be okay. Let's see. Let's see if I get that last sort of part. And remember, we use the piano because it's easier to get that right. Okay, I think this is the starting position. Yeah, that's the F. So if I start these together again, restart this. Let me start these guys together. I don't need this here right now. Move these here. Let me just start everything together. Okay, I don't know exactly that it's running on the, a lot of times you say your bass line should match or the lowest note on your chord should match your bass line, but I'm trying to do something a little different. This one's a little iffy. So this one's maybe see what this one. So sorry. So that would be the first one with this one, and then the next one goes to here, and then the third one it goes down to here. So maybe that's, and then that will go to this one here. So it's a C and a D and A sharp. So let's see what we have. So let's move this to an A sharp. Let's see how that works. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so you're like, okay, well, we're not using a piano. again, I tell you, use the piano to work things out. But once you get them worked out with the piano, you can move them on to another sound. And I'm gonna maybe create another sound with the analog because it's subtractive synthesis day. So maybe I'll create some sort of pad or something. Just trying to get that. That's my progression there. This one, right? Okay, so let me get another analog in here now. And I'll move that. Get an instrument in there. Get the analog in there. And then drop that in there. That's using now the filters envelope to just bring that filter, open that filter up a little bit. Let's do a detune again. Not too much. Let's add some unison to that. So for those that don't know, unison is taking the voices that you're working with right now, making copies of them, and like right now we using, let's see how many. I guess we had the chords are like 3 notes each, so each of those notes is generating from each oscillator a voice. Now I could also add a sub oscillator in there, but right now I'm about to quadruple each note and make kind of 4 copies of it by turning unison on, making sure that this is on 4 voices. If I do that though, I'm going to want to give me more voices available because by default I only have 8, right? So I'm going to want a lot of voices, and then we'll see how we manage this detuning on the unison. You could also delay the notes from each other, but let's see what it sounds like now. So I'll turn off the unison and then let you hear what it sounds like with the unison. All right, let's turn on the unison. And let's detune them all a little bit from each other. And let's space them out a little bit in time. Not that much. So let's hear those by itself. Let's start renaming these things to pad. This will be my pad. And this, I guess, was the bass. Add some effect to it. See what happens with reverb. Happens with a little bit of echo. Oh, that's nice with echo. See, that's why you set yourself up with the right set of effects here in your returns, because it just immediately gives you access to like making cool stuff. If you guys are Ableton users, one of the sick jokes that Ableton plays on every user is that when you install the program at first, it gives you like a reverb and a delay with like the worst settings that you could probably ever have on a reverb and a delay. And so you have them there ready to go, and you try to feed some of the sound in there, and it's just like horrible. I recommend that immediately, if you've just installed Ableton, that you immediately change these to something usable. And then once that is done, you save it as your default preset there. So let's get that going. I want some movement in this. What if I change one of these to a square wave? And then add some pulse width modulation in there. So let's show you what I mean. So this is the square wave I'm playing right now. And with this square wave, I'm going to bolster it a little bit with the sub, which is it's a 1 octave below sub oscillator that you can add in here. And in a pulse or square wave, you get the possibility of changing the pulse width. Now, what is pulse width? As you can see, this waveform is basically like an on-off switch. It's either on or off. And if I could show you with the LFO, it's an easier way to see this. So here they call it a rectangle wave, right? And this is the on part and this is the off part of it. And that is on and off are exactly, 50% of a whole. So it's the pulse width is set to 50% right now. If I change the pulse width, my on versus off situation changes. It changes to either on longer or off longer. And if you change that in the pulse wave that you're using, you're going to get different tones out of it. So let me see what I mean. So if I move this, see how it's different there? And different there, right? So what I might want to do now is take my LFO and I'm going to run it very slow and apply it to the pulse width modulation. Actually, I got to take this second one because that's the one that's going to be able to affect this here. And I'm going to grab this and go to this panel, and here you'll see pulse width is at 94. I'll set that to 50% again. And then I'll feed the LFO. And I'll move it fast so that you can see it in action. That's super fast in action. But I just want to make it so it moves ever so slowly. And it's moving at the rate of like 0.8, so a little less than a second. So let's make it even. Make it so it takes 10 seconds to get from one place in the pulse width to the other. And then we'll turn the other one on again. And maybe we'll bring this one an octave down and this one an octave up. Whoa. Too much. A little resonance to it. Well, let's listen to it in the mix. I also wanted to kind of move in stereo or feel more stereo. Look at it, it's completely down the middle. I might just do the Haas effect thing, which you've seen me do before. Let's do it now. Let's grab a delay and drop it in here. And we're going to turn these to time-based and bring these down. So what I'm doing now is I'm setting up the Haas effect situation where what the Haas effect is when one wavefront hits one ear before the other. So the sound comes from one source, right? But if the sound coming from one source, we're able to come just a little bit earlier to one ear from the other, your brain kind of interprets that as this like big, huge thing. It like makes the presence of it grow, and it makes it feel huge. So what I want to do is exactly that. So I can lower them to that 1 millisecond. So I have to eat that 1 millisecond. I can't go to 0, but I could put a little divergence between one and the other. And for sounds like this, 4 or 5 milliseconds is going to be great. So this is the left side will be getting the pad sound first, and it'll come delayed to the right side just about 4.51 milliseconds. Remember, there's 1 millisecond here, so it's not 5.51 divergence, it's 4.51 divergence. So you don't need any feedback, you don't need any filter on, you need it completely wet, and then I'll show you what it sounds like. Here we go. And now I turn it on. Now I just widened it up. Work with that filter a little bit. You get that amplitude a little bit more swelling. Get this filter over here a little down. That's better. A little resonance. All right, let's play some parts. Let's go back to the piano again. And you guys are hanging out. I'm going to hang out a little longer. Max Wild wants everybody to know that there's still the last chance to enter the Tetro Sample Challenge using Max Wild's saxophone, magic saxophone, which he recorded. If you guys are on TikTok, Max made a TikTok video of him playing the microphone. I mean the saxophone on there, which was it took me by surprise when I saw that on my TikTok For You page. Let's see. Tetro Sample Challenge using my sax sample and chance to win Ozone 9. I want to win Ozone 9. Ozone 9 is awesome. Yes, that is amazing. Ozone 9 is a sample, is a mastering sort of one-stop shop that Isotope makes. That's great. Let's see what else is on this. Okay. Let's see. Oh, dang, the moment when you realize you only have one speaker on. Yeah, it's not going to work if you only have one speaker on, Simple Sam. Okay, so let's see. Toten Tants asks, does pitch up and pitch down give some sort of artifacts or what? I don't know if you're talking about the fact that I have a little bit of detuning here on the synths, on both of these synths. There's a little bit of detuning one from each other. It just thickens the sound. It gives you a much thicker sound. Let me show you again. And I'll just change that. See how it's just kind of boring? And as soon as you kind of just detune them a little bit, you get a little more. And I think that's what you're talking about. But all right, let's keep going. And let's go back to my piano. And I'm just going to jam on it. I'm not going to feel self-conscious. No, there's not a bunch of people watching me kind of play like a monkey. It doesn't matter. I start recording. I don't care. Recording goes on. And I play on my piano. Where are the chords again? Let's see, two hands maybe. That didn't work. Maybe I had to get a little louder so I could hear the piano, actually. So at one point I want to have some strings. I try to imagine them being strings. I don't know what I'm playing. It doesn't matter because I'm just going to go back and listen back and see, do I like any one of these bits? And I'm just going to store the bits that I kind of feel like okay about and see if I can work that into something more interesting. So let's start with like 2-bar pieces. Nah, that doesn't work. I like that. I'm just gonna copy that. Go to the next part. Yeah, there's a 4-bar part here that I kind of might have got right. I'll take that. Go to the next one. Let's try a 1-bar part, maybe this one. Nah. I need more than 1 bar. You gotta be willing to like sound like an idiot, because inside of that there might be that one part that you're just like, oh yeah, just keep going. There's a bad note here, sorry. I don't want that note. But these sound okay. Keep on grabbing these, you know. At one point, and you know what? I'm almost done with this take here. I did some bass stuff here. With that, let's see what I got, and then I'll put them into an analog immediately. So let's put that into an analog. And remember, I'm just using analog today because subtractive synthesis is the synthesis of the day. According to the thumbnail, it was, you know, synthesis for audio or music producers. So today we're doing subtractive. Maybe next time we'll do another type. I'm sure we will. I'm just being facetious here. Let me grab the analog again. Drop that in there, and let's see some of these parts with some of this. You notice I haven't used any presets. I can, but you know the point of the matter is that you want to maybe learn how to make sounds from scratch. And it's harder for me not using presets, but hey, it's why I'm here and you're there watching me. Get rid of this. Maybe a shorter amp section. How about that? Take that, and I'll add maybe, see what happens if I do this. It works already. Alright, got one. Let's do another analog, please. And let's drop that one in there. I don't know which I like better, delay or echo on it, but let's take another one, drop it in here. Oh, that could be a string for sure. Let's create a string with that. Saws are good for strings. So let's get that sub in there, and let's get it swelled in. Yeah, let's add a little vibrato to it. Not too much, just a little. Open up that release. And let's add a second one. Detune it again. And maybe change the octave on this one. And add more octave to it. See how it's sounding. Let's add some reverb to it. Alright, that'll work for now. I think that can play like, just make this double the length. And just erase everything else that's in there. So it just happens every other bar. I mean every 2 bars. Really like that bass. That worked really nice. Just keep that there. And of course we got to arrange all these parts. They're not all going to play at the same time, but I'm just coming up with like parts, basically. Let's just try the next one in another analog. And if you guys got to go ahead, but I'm going to hang out for a little bit. Remember, 343 TV, we are 343 Labs. Make sure you go to our website, 343labs.com, and have a look at our class schedules. We need you guys to sign up for some classes because this is how we pay the bills. This is how we keep this 343 TV thing going. It's an amazing resource for you guys to be able to just tune in every, 4 days a week and be able to get this stuff kind of, given to you. But we got to be able to keep this going. So if you can't take a class yourself, maybe tell a friend or just, spread the word. And hit the subscribe button because we're trying to build the channel, and maybe some likes for me just to make me feel good and make me look good. All right, let's try these 2 more parts here. Let's do another analog. And again, I'm using all these analogs because it's subtractive synthesis day, and I just wanted to kind of work with a subtractive synthesizer. Maybe next week we'll change it up to another one. I'm sure we will. And here we go, another subtractive synthesizer. Let's see what we have for a sound. I'm just going to drop this one in there. Okay. Let's see what happens if I just do sine waves. So I just want to do kind of bell sort of. Sine waves are good for that. Let's add a reverb to it. And give it. Oh yeah, that's a nice. See, once again, I can't stress this too much. Have your reverbs, delays, and echoes already ready to go here in one of these. Now, these might not be the final ones that I use in the end, but at least right now, I'm super motivated about doing this. Just turning this and getting this kind of spacey, sort of ethereal sound going in there. What happens if I detune this? Even weirder? Maybe a little bit of unison. Let's add more voices and more unison. Almost too much unison. Just 2 voices. This has a lot of amplitude. I'm gonna EQ that a little bit. I'm gonna have a look at it under a spectrum. See what's going on under the spectrum with this. Yeah, so there's most of the stuff that I want is right here. And there's some stuff going on down here, which is kind of bogging it down. So I'm going to grab an EQ. And with this EQ, I'm just going to drop that in there. And just kind of get rid of all that other stuff. And just to make it a little tighter and give it some more saturation, I'm going to add a glue compressor. Let's see what that sounds like. It's got to start at the right place. So it's got to start there. That's why it sounded off. That's the right starting position. Give me some drums. This part. Better when it can trail off. And this one. Good. And what's this last part? Leave it as a piano, just for too many parts to play all together at once. It's starting to sound a little bit like a soup, and when it starts sounding a little bit like a soup, that's when I know that I can call it a day. Well, at least this part of the production for me would be over. Meaning, I've gathered enough material that I have something substantial to play with, something that I can see becoming something bigger, which is really cool. Let's see if I could just get to showing you what's happening here. So I have simple drums here and a bass line. So let's drop that in the right place. Oh yeah, that guy's gonna keep going no matter what. So let's go. Here we go. Really like the way that came out. That phaser that flanger really came in handy there. And the fact that we changed the polarity or the phase so that left and right did the opposite things, it's really a nice effect in my headphones or in my earbuds right now. Let's add that pad in there. Gotta do it in time. Okay, let's see the next part. Oh, gotta make sure it's not muted. Too much to this. That's better. Okay, next part. Oh, I gotta stop muting these things. Here we go. Let's work on that. Too much resonance. Okay, that's cool. Next part. Oh, that's nice. I like this one really a lot. All right, I'm going to save that. And with that, I'm really over the show. I see some people have already started to go, so I'm going to go myself. Thank you once again for coming. I'll be back here next Friday and see me continue with this track. I'll try to do some stuff during the week to it, and I'll show you what I did. You know the process by now. I always kind of save these sessions as you know, as kind of groups, and then I show you what happened last week, and then I show you what I'll do for this week and the next week, and hopefully we can have ourselves another track by the end of of this whole thing is over. And by the way, we're working on a way on a template sort of for these projects so that we can get these all to you so that you can just open these up on your own and have a look as you follow along with the YouTube videos and maybe learn a little more by checking them out in person and being able to tweak those knobs yourself. All right, guys. Thanks again for joining me. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Make sure to give me a like, please. last beg for the like. And I will see you next week.